Hey, folks. So we're here with the Forge show at Game On Expo in Phoenix. And we've got Jennifer Hale with us.
Hello.
So
thanks, you guys.
Something I didn't know, she's the Guinness Book of World Records holder for voice in video games.
Female.
On the female side.
Yeah, Steve Bloom has the dude side.
So Steve, whatever, who cares?
He's amazing.
Go Power. I found out she's Samus from Metroid, as well as female Shepard.
Yes.
As she said, the only Shepard. So
no, I love Mark Neer. I might have said it once or twice. Sorry, Mark, you're amazing. He and I are actually in a game together called The Long Dark.
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
We both get to be in it together, and that's all thanks to Mark. He
that's so
connected
cool.
me with the people. And,
it's a great game.
Thank you. You like it?
Yeah.
I love that game.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I think they've done an incredible job with
It's so
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's a really cool game.
Nice.
That's super rad.
So first, how are you enjoying the expo?
I'm loving it. Everybody here is so great, and having a great time.
Okay, and have you met some true fans? Some people who are just kind of like falling
yeah,
over and stuttering?
I have to say, that's the thing about a couple of the games that I've had the privilege of being in is especially Mass Effect. I get a lot of people who are very moved by the game, and it's such an honor. It's such an honor to have them come, and some beautiful cosplay today.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them.
Cosplay. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So kind of like backing way up, kind of what forged your path to be, as incredible as you are today in the industry?
Brutal work ethic and some killer opportunities and tenacity.
Did you always want to do like voiceover?
No, I was not allowed to watch cartoons as a kid.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't really watching much
Look
TV.
at me now, Mom.
I was a bookworm. I was like solo bookworm girl.
Yeah.
Attention. I'm paying attention. Paying attention.
That just means we got to talk
Is this the voice
more
of
into
God?
these, right?
Oh, it's Steve. I can't interrupt Steve. Steve's speaking. He's speaking. Priority one alert. Priority one alert.
We love
from
Steve.
Yeah. Halo Q&A.
Halo Q&A. This afternoon at 1:30.
Be there, be square.
166. Now you know.
And you were in Halo too.
I am. Yes, Commander Palmer. Yeah.
So
That's so cool.
I'm required to go. Did you hear
have to
that?
go.
We're all required to go.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, when I was still in high school, I got a job at a video production studio in Birmingham, Alabama, that was next door to an audio house, and I could do a couple of little voice, like the song Valley Girl had been out for a while, had just come out, and they asked me to come next door and do that, and they paid me $30, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What? You're what? The what? So there were these two amazing guys there, Greg and Courtney, and they didn't kick me out every time I asked them to, how do I do this? Can I make a demo tape? Can I do it again? Because now that one sucks.
Yeah.
They were really nice to me. And I took that demo tape and I made a list of all the ad agencies in town because there were no agents. And I cold called ad agencies and went door to door with my tape.
Yeah.
And I built up a big business there. And then after I kind of had filled that, I'd done everything I could do there, I was still there, and I started going back and forth to Atlanta. And but this time I was already in university and got my first audition for a film, and I booked it, and I was like, okay, this kind of acting really makes sense to me. And because a lot of the theater stuff, it was fun, but it wasn't as happy there as I was in film.
Yeah.
And then I got some VO jobs there, and then that pushed me out to LA. And after I went to LA just to do the on-camera stuff, and after a couple years, I was like, I should make a voice tape just to make some money.
Yeah.
Sure.
And because I had a lot of experience before I went, I was able to do a lot of things. See, pro tip there. Did you catch that? Stay in a small town.
Yeah.
Get a lot of volume under your belt.
Yep.
Then go to the big town. So
I
when you
love it.
show up, they're like, wow, you're brilliant. No, I'm
Right.
not. I just have a lot of experience that you don't think counts.
Yep.
So,
Smart, yeah.
Rather than waiting tables all that time.
Well, and I had to do that too when I got to LA. But and weirdly enough, I made that tape in September, and my first audition was for late August? No, September. My first audition was for this show called Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh!
I remember
yeah,
watching
the
that,
little
yeah.
games, little
Yeah.
CD
Played
and
that
I know, right?
computer game.
And it,
Yeah.
well, that was my first game.
Wow.
And I didn't understand it at all
Yeah.
because I was used to cartoons where it's like there's a story and you go in order. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
page
right.
1,
Yeah.
page 2. Well, maybe someone has to go. We'll skip to page 47
Sure.
and go back.
Yeah.
In games, they were like, all right, you're going to say the name of all these flags. And I was like, Because.
Yeah, what are we doing here, right?
Okay, so what's? I'm an actor. I'm like, so what happens?
What's my
before
motivation?
This?
Yeah.
And where am I going?
Yeah.
What's my motive? And they're like, just say the flag. I'm like, but. And after this, and I was like, shut up, Jen.
Yeah.
Just do what they asked. You're a paid gun for hire.
Yeah.
Shut up and say what they asked. And I was like, okay. And then I found my way. And so, yeah.
That's so funny.
Wow, that's
it
really
was
cool.
fun, yeah.
So
And
then did you primarily stick with voice-over?
Yeah, I mean, I still do on-camera stuff, but honestly, it's kind of odd. There's a few things about voiceover that are pretty amazing. Number one is the anonymity.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't get paid nearly as much as the on-camera fancy people, but it's so nice to be able to. If I'd done as many on-camera roles as I have just in cartoons and stuff, I couldn't go to the grocery store in peace.
Right.
You know, and it would just.
True.
It's true.
Yeah.
Plus, you
it
can
would-
do those voiceovers in your pajamas, which is awesome,
Well, you
right?
know,
If you want.
can, but after a while that gets old. You're like, I want to wear some clothes.
Because everything is pajamas.
No, but
If I could, yeah. If
For
I
me,
could,
it
man,
was
I would do everything in my PJs.
Right?
Yeah.
It was always stinky horse clothes for me. I'd come from the barn to the
Nice.
session, like, hi.
Nice.
And they were like, oh, she's here. No, it's, it's, I love it. I mean, I love on camera too, though, but it's a lot slower.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the last things I worked on was Shameless. And, it wasn't much dialogue because I was, just a person of the week sort of thing. And, boy, it takes a lot longer.
A lot of hurry up
Yes,
and
it
wait,
does.
yeah,
Plus, I
for sure.
have to say, all my peers in voiceover are the most brilliantly, insanely, intimidatingly, inspiringly talented humans I've ever met.
Yeah.
And they're all really cool, really fun, really creative, awesome people.
We
Yeah.
agree wholeheartedly.
Like, the
Yeah.
community is
Yeah.
just, it's like, I had an idea in my head of, I want to go there and do that. And the universe went, over here, please.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
it's like, I'm not going to argue because they stuck me in a really awesome room.
Sure.
That in some ways has a lot of advantages.
Yeah.
It's
So
pretty
when you
cool.
started doing games, did that just kind of propagate more games and more games and more games?
Well, it did partly because
The joys of live production.
Carlos.
I want to listen to Carlos for a sec. Okay. All right. Anyway, enough listening to Carlos. No offense, Carlos. What was I talking about?
How one led to the next.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
got it, yeah.
So when you do an animated show, your script is, 32 pages, give or take,
Okay.
depending on if you're doing 22 or 11 minutes. And you're sharing the load. Like if we were doing a show, we'd all have roles and we'd all take turns,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Yeah.
a 4-hour session, and there we go.
Yeah.
When you're doing a game, we take that, and plus the script is like this big. When
Yeah.
you're doing a game, the script can be this big, and
Wow.
to this. I'm like,
You
they're
just say a
huge.
million things.
Yeah, I mean, Mass Effect 3 alone, I think I
Oh my
had
gosh.
7,000 lines.
Wow.
Crazy down, and Mark did the same volume. Like, imagine what that production team is dealing with.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy. So, in a game session, it's basically a 4-hour one-person show
Yeah.
with a couple of pee breaks. That's it. And it's very, I would come out of there dizzy.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's very demanding, and you work out of
intense.
context. You're doing a line from this part of the timeline, then over here to this part of the timeline, then you run down that trail.
The
we gotta go
emotional
back over
shift.
here.
Yeah, wow.
So you really are just living every line. It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Just, okay, wipe the slate clean. What am I now?
Yeah.
You're really. It's Dory. You're totally just Dory the whole time.
Wow.
And which is
Wait, who?
useful, right? What? I'm actually stunt Dory. Whenever Ellen's busy, I do all the Dory
No
stuff.
way.
Yeah, I'm stunt
That's
Dory.
awesome.
That's so cool.
Just keep swimming. Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun. And Cinderella too, which is great. I'm all Cinderella, but that's different.
Man.
That's awesome.
My daughter loves that. That's cool.
Oh,
That's super cool. She's
I
6,
do,
so
oh
yeah.
my god, I love that. I do birthday calls. So,
Nice.
yeah, it's so as a result of that, hey.
Who? What?
Who?
Inception.
Who is that?
We got her. She's here.
But a lot of my peers in the beginning, they didn't get games. They weren't interested. They were too tiring. They were like, no, thank you.
Wow.
So I really got, and I was like, I want to buy real estate. So
Uh-huh.
I said yes to everything.
That's where that tenacity
and so
comes
I ran
in. Yeah.
and scooped up. I loved it, and I loved the. I mean, honestly, I think my sort of meta purpose in life is to break down barriers, and that's what I love to do. When I first got to LA and I'd audition for commercials, people would say, the copy would say, woman 2, woman 3, announcer. And my agent would be, and I'd say, can I read for announcer? And they're like, they want to do it. I'm like, I know. Can I read for announcer? Can I? until they would just be like,
Just keep pushing
shut
at
up,
it.
just,
Yeah.
you know. And I did, and we broke that barrier. We busted
awesome.
right through that
awesome.
thing.
Yeah.
And the same with, Mass Effect was breaking a barrier. And Dragon Age was a huge honor.
Yeah,
I play
love
a
that
character
game.
called
Yeah.
Krem,
Yeah.
who is, a transgender character. And, like, that's what I live for. So,
That's cool.
give me a barrier, I'll take it. So I love that wild edge where there's not really a
Yeah.
path yet.
Right.
Pushing the
That's my-
envelope.
Right, and
Yeah.
you didn't wait for those opportunities. You found those opportunities and
Oh, yeah.
kept getting those opportunities.
You know, I have to thank my agents and production and
Yeah.
everybody else because I just get calls and I show up on
Yeah.
time. Most
Yeah.
of the time. And I do my absolute best. And to people out there who want to be in this business, do that. Like, show up on time, do your best. It's not about you, and leave when you're done.
Yeah.
That is so funny. We were just talking
It's so
yesterday.
simple too.
The,
Yeah.
the biggest element, most of the time, it's just showing up and doing your best.
Yeah.
Just show up. And like you said, like life happens outside of your comfort zone.
All the time.
And throw yourself into it. You'll be surprised at what can happen.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. Have you guys seen that diagram of the comfort zone? It's like a donut, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And have you seen that thing?
Uh-huh.
I love this thing. For people who haven't seen it, because Ben hasn't seen it
I
yet.
have a stupid look on my
He's
face. Yeah. Like, what?
Tell me about this donut,
Wait,
Jen.
is that just your regular face? Or? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He's actually Kevin
Ben.
Sorbo's stand-in.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? He's got
He
kind
could
of a
totally rock
Hercules
the
thing
Sorbo
going on.
stand-in.
Yeah.
No, but it's actually an amazing diagram. Because I just got that. I'm a little late. And that's funny. The donut, the interior of the donut, like the hole in the middle,
Yeah.
is your comfort zone,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And the donut-y part is like where you're like, oh, geez, this is kind of scary.
Yeah.
And then outside the donut is just sheer terror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the thing about it is, if you just live in that middle part that's your comfort zone, the lie about the comfort zone is that it stays the same size. It doesn't. It's either shrinking
Yeah.
or it's expanding.
Yeah.
So you got to spend your time in the mushy part of the donut going, doing what you just did. That-
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go back in for a rest.
Right.
But if you push too far and you get out here, then you'll shut yourself down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Right,
know?
right, right.
So it's a really, are you
Yeah.
a horse person? Because that's where I found that.
No, but I
Yeah.
like horses.
Yeah. I found that in a horse training book. I was
That's
like,
cool.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
equine therapy. Yeah.
Right,
That's-
right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's those little tricks to get you to kind of go past that. Because even like you said, just showing up sometimes it's the hardest thing, and then when you do it, you realize, oh, that was dumb. Why was that so hard for me?
Right.
It's not dumb though, because it's everyone's path.
That's true.
You know,
yeah.
what's hard for you is easy for me. What's easy for you is hard for me.
Yeah.
Like, we're all on our own path. And I
Yeah.
was listening to this thing this morning on Bulletproof Radio. I love Bulletproof, about judgment. It was an interview with Gabrielle Bernstein, I think, and she was talking about judgment. And we judge stuff that triggers us and that we're a little afraid of.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't even hear the afraid part. We just go straight to our judgment.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
so let's just flag that for, maybe that's me. you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Right.
It's so interesting. So,
Recognizing those cues and saying, well, why does that trigger me like that? Why am I afraid of that? If you really dig into it, that ego's in control, man. Like,
Oh, yeah.
but that's the
Yeah.
fun stuff
Yeah.
if you dig in.
And it's also normally it's something that really slammed you when you were younger.
Yeah.
And it's your
Right.
opportunity to go back and go, you know what?
Yep.
Totally
Yeah.
normal. I say that to my kid all the time. Like, listen, totally normal to be upset. Totally normal to be freaked
Yeah.
out. Not okay to act like that.
Sure.
So let's figure out another way. You
That's
know?
awesome.
Like, and that's what we have to do.
I love
right?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are empowering moments when you realize that, and when you get past that, and then.
And I think that's why we're here, right?
Yep.
I mean,
100%,
okay,
exactly.
this is a weird question, but I can't remember. What sciences stand on this right now? Is the universe expanding or contracting?
I thought it was expanding.
I thought it was expanding
So for the
too.
longest
I think
time,
it's
I heard it was always expanding. Then there was, of course, another study, and they're saying no, it's actually coming in on itself. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know. That's above my pay grade.
I know it's way above my pay grade, but I
I'm
was
into
thinking about
donuts
it.
and
Right,
I like
I know the donut thing, but okay, like
comfort zone's expanding.
right? But if like molecularly,
Yeah.
we're all little molecules of the universe because we're parts of the universe. If the universe is expanding, then we are too. And I think on a sort of a, I don't know what the word is, spiritual, whatever level. I think that's our purpose, is to grow and expand and push. And because when you expand and you push yourself like that, you get freaked out and scared, and it actually grows your compassion,
Sure.
Yeah.
which is how we settle everything down.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right?
It's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
No.
But games.
It makes
I
sense.
dig it. I
Yeah.
dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's beautiful, man. I
Yes.
think it's-
So I have a question.
Go for it.
I mean, out of all of these characters you've played, which one was your favorite?
What are you most
But
proud
also-
of? Yeah.
But also to follow up on that, which one do you think, like, whether it was very much related to you as it was written, or where you got to kind of input it so that you are proud of it, and kind of
that's a cool question.
Took the most ownership of,
Yeah. Oh, I own
all of them.
I own things that aren't even mine. Boundaries, people. What? That's a question I get. I do hear, and really the truth is that, and it's a good question. The truth is, my favorite thing about my work is the variety of my work.
Okay.
That I've been able to go everything from Princess Morbucks to, Palmer, to Shepard, to Cinderella, to the Dory, stunt Dory. I mean, it's like the sheer variety is my joy. Because I don't put me in a box because I'll punch you.
Yeah.
I hate it. And then ownership-wise, that's interesting. There's some stuff I work on, like BioWare stuff, because of the technical demands of how they work, like their workflow.
Right.
Don't change a letter.
Wow.
Or a punctuation. You can mess around with your feel of it and stuff, but
don't move
if
a comma.
you change a letter or a word, if you say, the instead of for, whatever. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Grammar, please. I know that won't work.
Yeah.
Right.
But you get the idea.
Yep.
Well, the branching narratives on those games
You
is
can't.
intense.
Because those of us playing multiple characters that have the same dialogue, and you'll screw it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you must stick to it.
Yep.
And you've got to learn how to live and create inside that. Then you got something like BioShock Infinite, where Oliver and I got to record at the same time, which is very rare.
Yeah.
And we could see each other through the glass. So we got to play off of each other. And Ken Levine, brilliant. I love you, Ken.
Shout out to Ken.
Oh, God. I mean, everyone in this industry, I could say that to every single person I work with. I mean, it's insane.
That's so cool.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cry. Because
It's a good community. It really is.
I love it.
insane.
Yeah.
The level of joy is just like, what? Anyway, Oliver and I got to record, and then we'd finish the scene, and Ken would kind of give us the chance to improv a little bit and play with it.
Wow.
And I remember there was a song, row, row, row your boat, in that, and we got to mess around there and play with it there, and it was such a collaborative, creative thing. And
Wow.
Tim Schafer, I wouldn't touch Tim's words because they're absolutely stunningly brilliant as they are, but Chris Brown is his director, and just that's a similar loose creative environment as well, and it's just that was like Brutal Legend and Broken Age.
Nice.
Those were incredible
cool.
experiences. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. When you hear yourself in the games, do you hear you or do you hear that character?
I don't play.
No?
Nope.
Ever?
When people make me.
And why
Don't
is
do it.
that? Why is that?
I do them so much that I don't have time.
So much
Sure.
immersion.
And I suck at
making
it.
them.
And honestly, when I'm one of those people, when I have free time, well, like this morning, I got up and
Sure.
I went out. I didn't go to the gym and get on a bike. I found a place around here to rent a bike, and I went outside.
Yeah.
I just have to be
Awesome.
outside.
Yeah.
I get calm and happy outside.
That's great.
So,
And
so can I ask you then, so how do you feel about games as a medium?
I think they're brilliant. I think the potential's incredible. I
Yeah.
think like every single other thing in this world, we have to look long, make sure that what we're doing is creating a sustainable society, and take personal responsibility for what we're up to.
Yeah.
And then leave each other alone to create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other thing about games too is I feel like as a person who brings human beings to life, my job is to go out and have a life and have human experices in the actual world.
Yeah.
So when I go in that
Right.
room,
Absolutely true.
It lends to that authenticity.
I broke my foot. I was rock climbing. I fell, and I was like, "Oh, I got to remember that sound." And I was playing with my horse, and I face planted, and I was like, "Oh, I got to remember that
Yeah,
sound."
use
And then
that.
I broke my foot. I had this weekend where I was horseback riding, rock climbing, hiking, all that kind of stuff, and mountain biking. And so I'm having that kind of an adventure weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I break my foot flossing my teeth.
Wow. That's
No, that's
it's
Okay.
always the worst.
There's got to be a story
Don't
there.
floss your
Trying to
teeth.
picture
It's
that.
wrong.
Yeah, how do you break your foot flossing your teeth?
Okay, you're
That's some
careless.
aggressive
You're me, and you're like
flossing.
squirrel. Yeah, I'm flossing my teeth, and I stubbed our cabin was really tiny and awesome, and I stubbed my left toe on a door jamb, and I'm like,
Oh, it's
and
the
I
worst.
jumped up in the air, and I landed on the side of my
Oh,
right foot.
no. That's
and
the
I
worst
heard
kind.
this sound, and I was like, oh! And I'm thinking, all I'm thinking is, don't swear, your son's in the next room.
Yeah.
Focaccia! You know, I was like, really, it hurt.
Man.
And at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, well, this is fascinating. This is a mid-tone sound. There's no high tones in this sound I'm making. And I'm like,
Analytical brain
Nerd.
of the creator kicks in, man.
Professional nerd.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, oh, there's none of that because I'm not afraid. There's no fear present. I need some ice. You know, what the hell? Can I get my shoe on? We gotta
Dude,
go.
that's fascinating. That's awesome.
And
That's
then
awesome.
I walked around on it for 11 days because it was such a dumb thing. I was like, it's not broken.
Right.
And finally, the bottom of my whole foot started turning blue. I was
You're
like,
like,
oh,
oh,
it's still
no.
bleeding. I should go to the doctor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
And
anyway.
one day you'll draw on that for a character, no
I
doubt,
did.
who
Yeah,
breaks their
and
foot.
actually,
in the game.
Wait, which character did you draw on?
Well, it made me aware that fear creates this. A tonal I knew it had a tonal effect, but it helped me understand what the tonal effect of fear was on a sound.
Yeah.
Because when we do those grunts and stuff, I remember in the beginning they're like, just grunt, and I'm like, well, shouldn't it be specific? Like when you die, like you know, somebody asks, tell me to make a death sound, right? Somebody tell me.
Make a death sound.
Okay, how am I killed?
Bludgeon to the head.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. See, that's specific.
That's going to be different than getting shot in the gut.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Am I expecting the bludgeon, or am I not expecting it?
It's all these little things.
It's all the details. Devil's in the
You got to go down the
details.
checklist, and you're like, okay, there's a formula.
Right? Do I know the person who just bludgeoned me? You know?
That's cool. So what are you doing now? Where can people find you?
I can't. Oh my gosh, I have the coolest role coming out. I have a bunch of stuff coming out.
Tell us.
I can't.
Okay, all right.
But sometime late in the year, you know, few weeks from Christmas, you will hear about, actually a few weeks, you will hear about one of my newest things I'm most excited about that I cannot speak of. It's very hard for those of you who did this thing that I'm in.
Nice. And they can follow you on social media to find that?
I am at Hale Tweets on Twitter.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I have a podcast on iTunes about money to educate people.
What's it called?
Yeah, what's it called?
Right now it's The Art of Money, but I'm looking for a new name. I think I'm going to change it to Adulting with Money.
I like it.
Adulting
I like
with
it.
money.
Yeah.
Okay, I could use some of that.
Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go. I'll subscribe. There we go.
So yeah, but bunch of cartoon stuff going on, bunch of game stuff. I'm out there, and I'll announce when I'm allowed.
Okay.
Very
Did you
good.
say something about competition, or did I make that up? Are you doing something?
No competitions.
I made that up.
I'm supposed to go in the studio and record an EP in October. If my work schedule will allow, I will do that, and I'll let everybody know when I release it. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
This
Awesome. Well,
this
thanks
has been
for
a pleasure.
coming on the show.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
This is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's been
It's been great, you
Jennifer,
guys.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
thanks to everybody out there. Without you, we don't have a job, so thank you.
Keep playing those games.
That's right.